1 year ago, Donald Trump was sworn in for his second term as president of the United States. And what a year it's been. The president said it was going to be a golden age for America, but I haven't seen that exactly. What I have seen are big problems as it pertains to costs, care, and corruption. On costs, the cost of living is extraordinarily high for far too many Americans that are not able to afford their housing payments, not able to afford groceries or electric bills. The president said he was going to address all of those things. In particular, for example, electricity costs. He said he would cut them in half, and they've actually gone up 13% year over year. And the reality is the president just hasn't been focused on these areas as much as he's been focused on things like Greenland and naming buildings after himself and not winning the Nobel Peace Prize. So I hope the president refocuses on the cost of living. We're ready to work with them to do just that. On care, the Republicans have created a real crisis around health care with their big, not so beautiful bill last summer. They blew a hole in the Affordable Care Act by canceling the tax credits that allow for roughly 20 million Americans to get their health care affordably. And in so doing, already nearly 1.5 million people have decided not to get health care under the ACA this year. And what that means is that everybody's health care is impacted, not just those on the Affordable Care Act. Just as bad are the looming cuts to Medicaid. And we'll see this in a very profound way later this year when millions and millions of people are going to be kicked off the Medicaid program that they need, not because they're not eligible or for any other reason other than they don't fill out the paperwork properly. They don't meet all the bureaucratic red tape requirements that the administration has put in. And then on Medicare, for so many seniors that rely on Medicare, because of the big not so beautiful bill, already the costs are being cut, the reimbursement rates have reduced, and over the decade, there are roughly going to be $500 billion in additional cuts to Medicare as a result of what they did. They've refused to extend the ACA tax credits. They refused to work with us on really anything to improve the health care of the American people. And the president came out with a great health care plan that was really no plan at all, and the American people suffer as a result. Finally, on corruption, I believe strongly that this second Trump administration has been the most corrupt in American history. When you look at the president's abuse of the pardon power, that alone tells you everything that you need to know. And it's why so strongly I believe that we need to reform the pardon power. We need a constitutional amendment that would limit the pardon power where the president could not be pardoning family members or members of the cabinet or those with whom he has a financial interest. And along those lines, the president's net worth has increased by roughly $3 billion since he's been president the second time around, through a whole network that has been widely reported of transactions that at the very least raise significant ethical and conflict of interest rules. This administration under Stephen Miller and Kristi Noem and Tom Homan has really run afoul of our values. They are going into communities all across the United States, and rather than actually focusing on national security and public safety, they are tearing families apart. They are treating people in a cruel and inhumane way, and that includes many American citizens who are caught up in all of this. Again, not for national security, not for public safety, but so that Stephen Miller can hit an arbitrary deportation quota that, in my view, is simply not consistent with American values. I think we all need to look back at this past year as chaos, as extremism, as a period of great turbulence for the American people. And I'm hopeful that we can get back to some common sense. But again, that's going to take the president of the United States wanting to roll up his sleeves and work with us rather than just criticizing and condemning and just airing grievances all the time. So we'll see what happens. Let's hope that 2026 is better. We'll be prepared for the worst and always hope for the best. Thank you.